Good evening, it's October 15th, 2021. Let's take a look at what Bitcoin is doing here. So it did pretty much what I didn't want to see, to be honest, based on the analysis last night, but whatever, that's fine. I'll keep working with it. Now that being said, I did have this red box here, which pretty much overlapped exactly with the other red box I was looking at. Said that was likely going to be the end of C of 3, anywhere in the range between 60,000 and 63,000, and we hit 62.9 basically as the high. So what I'm going to do is go over the primary scenario that I have here in yellow, and talk about what this move means for that. And then I'm going to talk about some alternatives that this might signify, since this has kind of gone, it hasn't gone higher than I anticipated yet, but because we don't yet have this micro 4 and 5 in place, it still may. So let me zoom in here. If you've been following along, I've been looking at this as potentially a diagonal, and last night I said we do not have this diagonal channel confirmed until we get a high in 3 here, the C of 3. So we do potentially have that now up here at that 62.9 region. And so let me just get rid of this for clarity. So what we're going to do is draw a parallel channel from 1 up to what I think is 3, and then down to the 2 here, which really was about there. But so there's our channel. So now we really should see if this is going to continue as a diagonal and have 5 waves up within this V here. We should see it come down and test, maybe 59-ish, depending on how quickly it gets there, of course. If it comes down right away, it can come down to 58.5. If it takes a little longer, it could just kind of chop sideways in the 60K range, and then we would see a final move up. So I don't like this for multiple reasons that I've stated before. On the larger time frame chart, if I go over here to the daily, what we really want to see happen, let me just hide this on the daily. Okay. So this is our daily fib that we're looking at, and we're working on 5th wave here, this yellow V, and we have our 1 and our 2 in place really nicely, and then we're working on 3 right now. We are in the 3rd wave of this move, in my opinion. And so ideally what we wanted to see is a move to the 618, which was 57.5 basically, and then a move down to hold about 50,000. If we did that as our micro 1 and 2 within 3, it would have been a very clean path up to this target here at about 107,000 for wave 3. So what we've done, obviously, at this point is we've extended at least right now to the 764. So at the moment, we could say that maybe that first wave of 3rd is done and it just extended a little bit, and so now we'll come down and hopefully hold about the 0.5, which is here around 53.6, potentially down all the way to that 382 at 50K, but somewhere in here we hold a 2nd wave, and then we can proceed upwards and hit probably slightly higher targets based on that. We'd probably extend all the way to 115 in this 3rd wave because we extended 1 wave here, or 1 degree here in the 1st wave. So that is possible. And the other alternative is that this keeps pressing higher without doing a pullback and not giving us a little micro 1-2. And we have 2 possibilities there. The first one being that this is just a very extended 1st wave, all the way to the 1.0 extension at 72.7. And then we'll get a pullback that will hold, and then we'll get a very extended wave up. and actually end the third wave around 133. It's possible, but it's rare for that to happen. Normally, if you get a move that goes like this, here, here, and you've got a fib extension drawn, and it goes to the 1-0 extension, normally that is an A, B, C, which is just a corrective pattern. And what that means is that, well, one of two things that could mean. The most bearish possibility, of course, is that this whole thing is then an ABC, and we actually are going to get another move down in a flat correction. And that is possible if it extends to the 1-0. The other possibility is that we get a three-wave move down in a correction, and it comes down pretty damn deep. I mean, it can come down into the 40, low 40K range from there. So 72 down to like 42. And then we'll get a three-wave move up for wave 3, and what this will do is it'll make an ending diagonal upwards, and then we'll get an ABC down in 4 and an ABC up in 5. So this would be certainly less ideal if it followed this path, because this is just so choppy. I mean, we're going to be looking at massive $30,000 moves here, basically. $30,000 drops, $30,000 pumps, and it's going to be extraordinarily frustrating to try to track. So, all of that being said, I am hoping that I'm wrong somewhere in here about where this wave has ended. Either that I'm wrong, or that it's already, it's already topped here and we're going to get a pullback. That'd be fine too. So let me go back to the micro now and look at what those various things could be. All right, so first possibility is that, this is making an ending diagonal up. There's our third, there's our fourth, there's our fifth. All right, so we have that on there as a possibility. Second possibility is that we somehow within this have 5 waves already. Like maybe instead of this being an ABC flat correction, maybe that's our, I don't know, maybe that's our first wave or something. It's very, I don't like it. I don't like any of this, to be frank. But maybe we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 already up in this wave, and then we pull back. So that would be kind of, at this point, best case scenario in my opinion, is we get this pullback from here. We don't press any higher, because like I said, pressing higher at this point really convolutes things. That would be my preference. That would let me know that this is looking correct. All right, and then the final possibility is that we actually did top in the 5th wave right here. If you remember, I was talking about this 618 as being the place that I wanted to see that first wave top out, 57.7, and we did have a decent rejection there. Had this gone down further to the 382, I would have no question at all. I would say this is our 5th wave right here, and we've topped out and we've come down and we've tested this as support, and now we can proceed upwards in the third of the third. That would have been the best case scenario, but it is still possible. And so what that would mean is that instead of all of this crap going on here, where we're ending the 5th wave, if we've already ended it, if this is the end right here, right, that's the end, and then we just had a very extraordinarily shallow wave 2 that tested this 0.5, then we may already be in the third of third. So I'm hoping that makes sense, but basically if this was our 1 and then we had a very shallow 2, then we could see this potentially proceed upwards very quickly all the way up to about 84K. So I guess it makes this area tricky to trade, obviously. I am still holding on to my buys, which are about 42.7 is where I rebought down here. So that's my average buy. So I'm not letting that go. I haven't sold any of my Bitcoin. So I'm ready for whatever scenario it throws at me. I'm very comfortable with that entry. But as far as like taking leverage longs or trying to play these swings, we're in a very weird place right now, and it really needs to tell us what it wants to do. And unfortunately, there's really not any good indication of what it's going to do until either we get a pullback to at least 54, that'd be good, or most bullishly, I guess, would be this area I was worried about, that 72.7. If we just bust through that and continue upwards to 84, that would be pretty decent. And at that point, I would have to revise this and say, okay, yep, that was in fact our wave 1 there and wave 2 there, and then we're still working on 3. So we could play some swings from that point once that's clarified. But I don't have any trades to take at this point, unless it comes down, like I said, or breaks through that 72.7 area. That is going to be pretty tricky. So other than that, I'm just looking to hold on to my spot buys and ride the waves on this however it wants to go. But hopefully that all made sense. I know this is kind of getting a little bit frustrating, a little bit messy here, as far as what the heck it's doing. So let me put this back on. There's our potential channel right there. Is that right? No, sorry. This is the one. 1, 3, and 2. So basically something like that. All right, so let's see. I'm going to keep this on for now. It is still my primary scenario because it's been playing out pretty decently as far as what I think it should be doing. So I'll keep this on here for now as the micro. 1, 2, there's 3. We should get a pullback in 4, and then 5 may move up there a little bit higher. So that being said, I guess once we get down to this area, that's going to be the true test. If we can pull back, which, honestly, this looks like it wants to pull back to me at this point, but who knows? It could do anything. So assuming it does pull back, we're going to have to keep a close eye on this trend line right here and see what happens. If we break down through that trend line, that's great news, because we'll probably head down then towards this 0.5, which is really what I want to see. So short term, that's what I'm keeping my eyes on. Alternately, if this just keeps pushing up, there's really nothing to do but wait it out and see what happens once it does get its first rejection, like first major rejection, where that's going to hold. So I wish I had more clear criteria than that, but that's pretty much all I've got right now. Is let's take a look, see around maybe 50, somewhere in this 58 to 59, 60 region, something like that. If we break through that trend line, then we know we're in good shape to come down and test. And I'll say that 5 is completed somehow in that region, even though I'm not quite clear on the count up. But otherwise, if we hold that line, then I'll expect a breakout here in, at a minimum, a 5 of 5, or potentially even, like I said, maybe we're already in the third wave, with 5 having ended back here somewhere, and we'll see a move up to 84 pretty quickly then in that case. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got. All right, let's see what the overnight action brings. Remember, it's the weekend, so whatever happens, it's going to be full of shit, and we'll go from there. All right, good night, everybody.